Hi guys, I'm Greg Howlett, and I want to take a moment and give you a few thoughts about a new arrangement that I just wrote called We're Marching to Zion. These are performance tips. Now, I don't do this very often, but this is one of those songs that is pretty hard, it looks hard anyway. It's intimidating. And I want to give you maybe 3 little things that'll help you sort of get it into your fingers and get you playing it quicker, because I want you playing it. And it's not nearly as hard as you might think. So let's get to it. The first page of this song is really simple. Nothing interesting there. That's just my wheelhouse, the stuff that I normally do. But as we move into the second page, we start this pattern. Okay, so that's the style that you hear, sort of maybe a little old school, bouncy type of style that you hear in the small country church maybe. I like it from time to time, and that's the style we're using here. There's a place for it. And let's talk about what's happening. There's really 3 things that I want to mention. The first thing is the interplay between the right hand and the left hand. Now, we're in 6/8 time, so think 6 subdivisions of the bar, and really the right hand is going to be playing on the beginning of each subdivision, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then that left hand is sliding in between all those notes that the right hand is playing. Right? That's all it is. So those ties, all those ties which make the music sort of look complicated, are really just designed to offset the left hand, so it's playing in the cracks between the right hand. So that's all it is. Pretty simple, right? If you get that into your hands and you start to understand that, it makes this a lot easier to play. Now, the second thing I want to mention is, even though what I just said is true, it's not quite that simple, because we're not doing this. We're doing this. So what's the difference? Well, it's swing. This is what we call swing music. Swing music means that even though you have, in this case, 2 30-second notes, these are 30-second notes, even though they're written that way, we're not going to play them that way. We're actually going to borrow from the second note of each of these pairs of notes. So the second note is going to get less time than the first note, which some of you may think of as like putting a dotted 16th against the 32nd, right? That would be a typical way that we would address that. I didn't write it that way here. Another way you could do it is you could have the triplet, the number 3, where you sort of divide each 8th note into 3 parts, and then the first note in the pattern gets 2/3 and then 1/3. And that's the notation that if you look at the beginning of the song, that's the notation I use. The truth of the matter is, though, neither one of those is accurate, because swing, this is something that some of you may not know, in swing music, there is no exact way that you're supposed to divide up the time between the 2 notes. You could use the dotted, or you could use the triplet, but really it's probably somewhere in the middle, and it'll vary from performance to performance, to be honest, and from place to place in the song you might do it differently. For example, if you're playing fast, a lot of times if you're swinging and you're playing fast, the 2 notes are a lot more equal, but if it's a slow song, the first note might get a lot more than the second note, right? The critical thing, though, is both notes together have to be 1 beat. If you got that down, you're in good shape. But there's no rule that says you have to give at least or exactly 67% to the first one and 33%. That doesn't exist, right? So just remember that. You have some discretion as a performer, but we do want to swing. So we're not looking for this. We're looking for this. Okay, so that'll help you. Now, the last thing I want to say, though, is even when you're swinging, you're still not going to sound authentic until you do something else. And that something else is accents. And right with that is confidence. So you got to play this stuff with an attitude. And you got to really sort of beat some of these notes. Hit them hard. And the other notes you want to back way off on. It's almost exaggerated. Now, in general, you're going to really exaggerate the melody, and then the notes that come in the cracks, you're going to really back off on. Okay, so let me play a little bit of this and see if you can tell what I'm talking about. Okay, so really right off the top, you hear that? So the first note, which is the melody, it's a chord that has the melody. I'm really emphasizing that, but then I'm ghosting the second note. Ghosting is a term that you hear sometimes, meaning I'm going to play that way, way less. You know, it's at a way lower volume. It just makes the sound really good. And so we're using a lot of articulations with this kind of music to really make it authentic. Look at bar 29, for example. Let me get into that. Okay, so that right there, that's the melody. The melody starts on bar 30. On bar 30, you see the melody again, but I'm going to do, you hear that middle note? It's not melody. It's the swung note. It doesn't belong to the melody, so I'm really going to back off on how hard I play that note. So that's the big thing about swing, is the accents will really, really make it either work or not work. I'll play just a little more, and then let's see. I'm going to start at bar 25. Like that right there. So that kind of thing is what I'm talking about. In a lot of cases, it's just going to be about emphasizing the melody over those other notes that are not as important. But another way of thinking about it is, in a lot of cases, the second note in each pattern is going to get a lot less emphasis. Not always, but quite often. So again, this is one of those things where I can't give you formulas. It's up to you as a performer and how you want to do it. But use the accents, and that'll help your music. So those are the three things. Remember how the right hand plays against the left hand. Start swinging, and then swing with an attitude. That's where you'll get the sound you're looking for. I'll see you next time.